Oh.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to welcome everyone and audience introduction. I'll start with you, Noah.
Noel Rebel, I work at Darrell High School as the Extended Learning Opportunities Coordinator.
Jay Robin, Director of Village Transportation.
Carlos Swanson, full of DES.
Jen Bell, JMG Specialist, Deerfield High School. Keating Wood, JMZ Regional Director.
And welcome, everyone. We do have some adjustments to the agenda. Can I get a motion, please? And a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Consideration of the minutes. The minutes of the February 24, 2026 board meeting. Could I get a motion, please?
So move.
And a second? Second. Comments, questions, revisions. I had saw a typo, now I can't. Yeah. I'll find it. There was an extra 1 or 0 or something. I don't remember where.
Send it to me, Barb, and I will fix it.
All right, I will send it. You know, it was just the wrong. Any others?
Just send me a little note.
I will. All those in favor? Thank you. Opposed, abstained, no voting. Non-vote. Thank you. Public comment. This is the time the public can make a comment. Come up to the tiny little podium. Not making a podium. All right, seeing none, old business. You have anything, Bruce? Oh, I ran by communications. Sorry, Sam, do we have communications?
You do. So, the board members all received an email from Brandy Bordeaux. Oh, yeah. Containing thoughts about the upcoming budget and suggestions for cuts. And you also received an email from Brian Keene with the calculations of how much was spent on the contracted services last year, which is around 30,000, and this year, which is expected to be similar. The board has requested that information.
Thank you. Sorry to forget.
It's okay.
All right, now Bruce.
Well, I'm gonna start off the report of giving everybody the heads up that we now have occupancy for both of our new buildings at Region 9. We are in the process of finishing up doing the setup. The sad thing is that it's gonna be tough to move everything that we still need to move to get both buildings completely going, but we're gonna make every attempt to it during school break. We've got to get some crane, some type of a lift machine to move some of the big equipment from the regional building where the welding lab was to the new welding lab, but we have welders, we have everything. Now we've got to get electricians to do all of the pigtails to hook them up. So, but we do have occupancy. It is now our buildings to go into. So that's a good sign considering it was a year and several months beyond when we were supposed to get it. So that's an adder from this. The regular meeting we met on the first Wednesday of the month. It was kind of a short meeting. We spent more of it just all celebrating because we get into our new buildings. The finance committee has been working on the updates for everybody. Probably going to give you a little bit of a lowdown of what we're going to be doing, but as with everything, along with our RSU 56, Region 9's costs are up. As with anything, every school that uses it, there's more people that you have, the more that you have, the more expensive it is. So the finance committee has been going through everything and we've been trying to trim everything that we could. We found that all of our programs, even with all the beginning thoughts, have got quite a few numbers in it. So the staff reports, we had Dave Murphy gave us an update on the adult education. His program, they're looking at a satellite station that is on Congress Street that is hopefully going to be opening up in the near future. So it allows that people have another site to be able to go to Because sometimes he found that certain people to get to Region 9, he was actually used this area, he had a young gentleman who was going through the winter time, coming to Region 9 by a bike riding through the snow to get there, so people, as the old story goes, there's a will, there's a way, but now with having the satellite station, it's gonna make things a lot more equitable for people to get there. The superintendents met at the advisory committee. They kind of talked a little bit about, the discussion was about our early childhood program. Our early childhood program is looking at being withheld in Region 9's facilities. So we're looking at keeping everything in-house, being overseen by a director that we have at Region 9. Let's see. We've got a new person that we hired for our taking over, will be taking over the part-time that we have in our culinary arts, the pastry and bake section. And we're looking at eventually possibly next year hiring on as full-time to fill that role. We have, again, quite a bit of numbers that are going on in all of our programs. The Skill USA competition is coming March 12th and 13th. They're gonna be going up to Bangor, spending overnight. It's quite an event. It's quite a thing that's going on. Have I ever been to it? No, but I get all the reports of it, and it's quite a thing for our young people to go up there and participate in these things. See, I think that was probably one. Now the bad news I'm going to say is that, as I said, our numbers have gone up in expenses, and that we looked at. Thought she had it written down, but make sure I say the right numbers. Our new amount for our fiscal year for the secondary budget that we're bringing to the people is at $2,934,727.82. In RSU 56, and I don't have this on this, but when I went through it, it was roughly a little over $70,000 increase to RSU 56. Each of the three districts each had some increases to them, but it's all to do, as we know, with a formula, how it works, and the formula came out with we have, I can't remember exactly offhand on top of the head of how many more students. It's either 16 or 20 more students this year than last year, so again, it adds into the cost of it. The adult education budget was actually down, but it was at $419,906, and it's a little reduction in everything, but as much as you see reductions in cost for it, I think he was down around $1,000, but it ended up being a little bit more of an increase to each district that participates in adult education. And that's it.
Any questions?
I have a question, and you may have already covered it, and I missed it because I came in late. I apologize. Do we have any rectification on the water situation?
You missed that. We have occupancy to both our buildings now.
Oh, thank God.
We are all, we have.
I was just wondering, I was like, you may have covered it.
We
I'm
have
sorry.
ownership, but not only do we have ownership, we have occupancy out.
Awesome.
Everything got signed off.
That's wonderful.
So with no increase, you didn't have to find a solution.
They actually came up with a solution that did not cost us anything.
Okay,
At
that's,
one time, it was gonna cost the Region 9 $640-something thousand to put in a system. And the code enforcement had an answer for what was going to be done, and they ended up with a Zoom meeting about everything that was what needed to be done. And it came down to that state fire marshals do not oversee local fire marshals, and the local fire marshal said, if you allow us to do this thing, if there's a fire down there, and the state fire marshal says, no, we can't shut that down, and it's like, so who's got control? Well, the local fire marshal, then why are you saying you can't do that? And the answer, it was like one saying this and one saying that, and it came down to the fire marshal, state fire marshal at this Zoom meeting says, oh, we won't overrule the local fire marshal. And Matt Terry was the fire marshal and said, if I can do what I'm saying, I'll sign off. And that night he signed off. So we have occupancy in these buildings.
thank you. Any other questions for Bruce? Okay, seeing none, new business. Noah, you're up. Are you on the screen?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, side. Okay, so I presented last year, so a lot of you guys may remember me, but I'm Noah Rebel. I work at Derrick High School as the Extended Learning and Opportunities Coordinator, and I'm just gonna do like a little bit of update of what we've been doing as the program has continued to build. Here's the-
Better technology.
Okay, so universal definition of ELO is hands-on credit and or credential bearing experience outside the traditional classroom. Meant to emphasize community-based career exploration and workforce development. And the purpose of those is to broaden our understanding of when and how learning happens through engaging experiences that encourage students to aspire, connect with their community, gather information key to the post-secondary planning process. And at Derigo, we offer 3 types of ELOs, that's job shadows, internships, and paid meaningful work.
What's the third one?
Paid meaningful work.
Paid meaningful work?
Yes, so they're getting paid for that, that they're.
Oh my God. Shadows, what was the other?
Okay, so far, number of students impacted, when I first came on, so fall semester last year. I initially had 1 student do an online ELO. And then I absorbed 2 students that were already working, that had gotten their CNA license through Region 9. They were working at Rumford Community Home, so I ended up finishing that semester with 3 students. In the spring semester rollover, I had 10. And then the fall this year, I had 11. A lot of those students from spring of 2025 exited the program after graduation. And I now have 19 students in the program, so the growth has been great. Job shadows. I've been assisting the entire junior class this year with the advisory job shadow experiences, which is mandatory for them. And I'll be completely taking that over next year, so I look forward to that. Some things that we've done is some field trips and tours. So far, 90+ students have taken trips such as the UMA Medical Boot Camp, which is like a nursing boot camp is what they call it, hosted by the University of Maine Augusta. We took, I think it was 7 students last year. Right now, we're looking at taking 11, that could be next month. Last year, we took a group of freshmen to UMaine for an engineering summit where they got to work with some nanocellulose. They got to see the world's largest 3D printer, so on and so forth. We took some students to a JD Irving tour last year. I partnered with Buckfield's ELO coordinator. We took she took some of her kids, I took some of my kids, did like a joint trip. I know Jen and I are planning an ND paper tour. Next month, also the Brunswick landing, so they'll get to see some aerospace engineering stuff. They'll get to talk with inventors, so other engineers. They'll get to see how drones work and so on and so forth. So that's a really exciting experience. And then April as well, I'm taking the entire freshman class who University of Maine, similar to that engineering summit. They'll get to do different rotations in 4 different parts of the campus to get like an overall tour of the campus and just get to be able to see what it's like to be on college campus. That's our largest one in the state, so that's great. Some highlights. So without my work 5 grant has been great help in the fall. So far, 5 students were able to have their driver's ed experience paid for, and 2 of them were last year, and those 2 students now are in the ELO program. So due to that, them being able to take driver's ed, they were able to get to and from their job site and partake in the ELO program this year. I was able to help pay for a student to begin his Nobel Engineering electrician course. Now he's going to be able to be a registered electrician in the state of Maine. Transportation to and from our field trips, and we had a student last year who got transportation to and from the work site. They weren't able to drive, but we were able to, with our transportation department, who's been great and was able to coordinate that. Some internships, actually, we have 2 senior boys who have started internships. One, ND Paper Shipping Department, and he's really excited, he's loving that. And then Hometown Senior Solutions, Brad was kind enough to partner with us. And we have a senior boy working out of the Wilton location. And out of those 19 students, we have 16 that are getting paid through paid meaningful work by the actual job site. 2 others, and I touch on it a little bit later on, I believe, but with an entity called Manpower, I was able to get students paid up to 75 hours minimum wage through Manpower, which one of them both of those students in internships are getting,
I didn't even know they still had manpower.
I know, it's a great,
That's
it's great.
very old.
Great, it's great, it's very great. And then this is just some pictures from trips that we've taken. The top one is from the the UMA Medical Boot Camp. And then the second one is a student who was working at Larson's Auto Body last spring. And then same thing, those next two are from the medical boot camp. The one right there on the top right is from the nanocellulose building. So it's just, that was at UMaine. They got to play with nanocellulose and show how all parts of the paper is not wasted and used. And then UMaine from the tour, that's Cumberland Hall, the Brunswick Landing, another photo of a student at the medical boot camp, another one on the bottom right, and then JD Urban and Nine Dragons paper cut. And that is my presentation and update of what we were doing in the ELO program at Dairy High School.
Questions?
Awesome.
Quick question, you
Yes.
mentioned you work with the juniors, you work with the freshmen, sophomores?
Yeah, so I had my first ever ELO, actually, oddly enough, was a freshman. He did an online group ELO through like a coding course online. But typically it's juniors and seniors just because of the like labor laws and barriers.
Okay.
Not being able to get like workers permits, that's a big thing. So I am able to get some sophomores in there, and then juniors and seniors are just driving.
Okay, yeah, because no, I saw you were taking the whole freshman class. So.
Yes, yeah, okay, so that is through the
That
advisory
part.
program, so
From what?
the advisory program.
Oh, that's a
So,
totally
yeah,
separate.
yeah, I was able to, over the summer, do some training with group work with, our advisory program, group off, and help kind of formulate the plan for the upcoming school year, and that was just something we had decided we were gonna do, because our 8th grade step-up day is that day, it's like our school-wide day. One of them, and taking the entire freshman class up there.
Brad,
You know, when we talked, you said that you sometimes struggle to find opportunities for students. Is there anything that you could mention to the community that might be helpful to you?
Yeah, so a lot of like. The places that I, like, the mills, the two mills, like, that's in our community. I feel like our students should be able to get into those places. Because, like, we want to retain our students in the community post-graduation. And even if they aren't staying here right after graduation, get them to go to college and then come back. I want them to know what opportunities lie in this community. So a lot of them don't think that they have opportunities. They're like, oh, I need to go here, get work. It's not the case. If I can get in there, which unfortunately, not a lot of them are gonna allow under like a minor to get in there. And so Brad has been kind enough, in his business, it's a little bit different. It's not a requirement. So, yes.
It's not dangerous.
Right, it's not dangerous, right? And I understand that. And luckily, Manpower, which again, this is off topic a little bit, but they assume all liability in that. So if I was, when I was applying for the student through Manpower for You, if I was like, oh yeah, he has to carry 850 pounds a day, they'd be like, probably not. But that's not the case. So they were able to pick up that liability. But yeah, so in terms of just like getting minors, because a lot of the senior class isn't 18, or especially juniors, they're 16, 17 years old. So like any opportunity that they can get in this community, like I know Brad has been superb help for me in terms of just making connections and having conversations and brainstorming ideas. And I know when I reached out to you, you were like, we would love to take somebody on. So yeah, just like I haven't reached out initially, like I don't want to reach out to a business and be like, hey, I might have a student who might be interested in this at some point, and then just never reach out again. And they're like, well, that was kind of pointless. Why didn't we even do that? So I've been reaching out as they come to me and express interest. So, yeah, just in terms of when that issue comes up.
A follow-up. One of the things that came to mind, as we looked at your rubric for it, there's got to be businesses out there that would be interested, but they might not know how to conduct an internship.
Yeah,
Do you help?
yeah, of course,
businesses how to kind of fit that in their business?
Yeah, when I first started, April of 2024, I had that whole April, May, and whatever part of June we had to kind of develop the program. So I did the internship handbook, and I have parts in there that is like tips of work with high school students, because a lot of these places may not know, like they just want to feel valued and make sure that they're not just there doing busy work, or like they want to have an impact. And I have that touched on it, and then obviously like working with just communicating with the business partner, making sure that we're on the same page and on expectations. So
Carl,
Is a junior job shadow, is that one-time deal or is that?
yes, that's a day long thing, but it doesn't have to be just one. So I have one junior girl, she's aspiring to do many things, and she's not certain, and she was like, well, I don't know which one to pick. I was like, well, you don't have to pick one, like, I'm trying to set her up with 3 different job shadows. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were. One was etching and engraving, so I had her do internship with that. Can't remember what the third one was, but the other one, I'm gonna butcher the name, she told me to call it bugology, it's a study of bugs. So,
Small.
yes, that's it. And so I knew you would know that, but she wants to do that, but it was in the winter time when she expressed that interest, like there's not a lot of bugs out at this time of the year, so. I reached out to a place in Skowhegan, and they were like, yeah, reach out to us in the spring, and we can set that
I
up.
had some of those job shadows over the years, but you probably be better off if you had a kid that was passionate about one discipline.
Correct,
And you would go, hey, I got this kid.
that's kind of what with trial and error.
And then, of course, you want to send them,
Right. So what I've kind of, the way I've approached it is, if a student isn't certain what they want to do, I'm not gonna throw
No,
a semester long
So I
internship.
mean,
Like, I'll
you
let
got
them-
a passionate kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
go ahead.
So I had Jed,
Yeah.
Jed's mine. And he job shadowed at my work
Yeah.
last year. And I work in Berlin, New Hampshire, but I mean, they would be welcome. I know that's a long drive, there's Wallingford hospitals right there, but they're open to taking high school students too,
Awesome.
just, I know
Thank
it's
you.
a drive.
Yeah, it's a little bit, Farmington, Maine Health and Farmington. has
You're
been
probably
great,
pretty good
yeah.
too, yeah, but,
Nice and easy process, but thank you.
so how did they make that decision? Cause I was 24 before I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. And
Makes it-
still, I can't decide.
Right, which decision are you?
Well, I mean, cause they're looking into jobs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they're young.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna change their mind partway through. So is the idea just to kind of get them in there, get some experience behind them, so they
Yeah,
can see
so-
more?
Yeah,
Okay,
this summer when we worked together in the advisory program, developing the career path for the year, the junior advisors or the staff member who oversees the juniors and seniors career path, we decided that we were gonna implement ONET, which is, it's like characteristic, like you take like a little quiz and you figure out what types of jobs fit your personality, and then you do a little bit more research on those.
I don't know how I feel about that either. That was way off.
Yeah, we picked 2 or 3, and then obviously, like
Right,
some students are like, well, this is what I want to do.
I'm
Okay,
sure,
You still
yeah.
have to do the ONET process because it's part of Cooper Paw.
right,
But we can get you, like,
in that direction.
regardless of what it says, still explore those options, but if you wanna do, you're set, if that's what you wanna do, then we'll set that up for you.
Awesome.
I got a couple, first,
Okay.
I'm glad you came because this year is, we have the budget.
Correct, yeah.
That program. You mentioned, Irving, you mentioned the mill. Do you do anything, cause I know, Region Nine does trades.
Yeah.
We have a lot of electricians, we have plumbing businesses, and if somebody really has a passion for that.
Yeah.
Them are the ones that are, what's the word? They're not more meat, but they give you a variety, because I'm not bashing the mill.
Right.
But I know a lot of kids start and then they venture off and then. They're at CMP, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I just feel with the limited
Yeah, so I have tried to get students to be able to do internships and job shadows within, like, especially electricians. I had 2 last year that wanted to do that, but it's the same thing. It's like, oh, they're not 18.
Safety.
They're not 18, so it's like,
Oh,
that's a barrier for like, real
okay,
barrier.
but
that
if
I
the
run into.
18-year-olds.
Correct, yeah,
They
so
do it.
I had a few guest speakers come in, like last year, or no, it's this fall, I had. For our school-wide day, I had, oh, again, it was JD Urban, it was a woman from HR there, and then we had. Maintenance and electrician come in from Nine Dragons Paper Mill and talk about his, like. Career and how he ended up being where he was, and it wasn't just right into the mill, like he had a whole story, but.
I know a good electrician company, I could probably squeeze
That
for
would be
them to
great,
come in,
that would be great,
just say Jason Arrington.
yes, yep,
Yeah,
So when Brad asked, like, what would we like to say out to the company, to the communities, I would say. Again. Noah's not going to reach out to a company within our core towns if the student's not interested in there. But if they reached out to Noah and said, we're interested in having internships, then Noah can just keep a running list.
Yeah.
And if the student didn't know, then
That would
he
be
could
a
say,
fence.
this is something that somebody's willing to have somebody.
That would be-
So that would be my ask publicly here on this.
Yeah.
yeah, that would be super helpful, I wasn't gonna ask that, but that would be great. Anybody has any connection.
they could go down to Carl.
Trouble is with that though, like in a small company like.
Yeah.
sitting there, If I get an intern, I gotta get something done every day, like I don't have.
Yeah, you have time to do it.
Whenever I have someone that don't know what they're doing. I don't get anything done and then.
I know, that's why
Very
we try to
Very
be good,
difficult, you almost have to have like
a helper.
somebody that,
Yeah.
yeah. you
Training
can-
while you're doing your
Yeah.
doing.
You know, like driving a tractor or something. She would probably go mow the field 4 hours, if somebody tried to mow the field, would probably 14 hours a day, you know, more fields than that.
That is something that'd be great.
You don't mow the field, do you?
I know.
I don't think, I think this, cause there's a lot of
Exactly.
people in the community who graduated
Yeah,
from Jericho.
Yep.
Who are around, who stayed here.
Yep.
For that reason.
and I know like Clean Cut, I've reached out to Clean Cut, and that's main thing, and that's in the area, but that's more of like a summer gig. So
Yeah,
like that's hard to get students internships when it's not in the school year, because then they are frequently laying employees off. during
do
the
you get
Christmas
anybody into Rumford Hospital?
I tried to do an intern, not an internship, a job shadow. They have like a very extensive process, and then I hadn't heard back, but I do know Chris Brennick at Mountain Valley in the same role as me has had like unbelievable success doing that, but I've had good success.
We know the president.
Okay, yeah,
She's a very good graduate.
She's.
yes, she is.
Graduate.
Yeah, I went in, me and the student that
She's
wanted
also
to
a
do.
former Miss Maine, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Me and the student that wanted to do a job shadow there went in together after school one day and we sat, I don't remember the lady's name, but we sat in there and talked with her.
There is a lot of
Yeah.
volunteer crap, cause we looked at.
We had like a whole packet that we had to fill out,
Yep,
job shadow packet, and not bashing them at all, because I think that
It
it's
was a lot of
it's great,
paperwork.
yeah, and then when I reached out to my connection at, the Farmington Hospital, there was like, she sent me a link and it was like a 2-page paper, and then you just had to
different.
upload a confidentiality form, and that was it. And then she was like, let me know the student's name so I can be on the lookout for their name. That was that.
Bruce,
Have you talked to any of the financial institutions, your bank?
Yeah, so we do, because we have like a Western Maine cohort of ELOs, so it's myself, Buckfield, Telstar, Oxford Hills, and Mountain Valley. And we actually had like a sector meeting where we had some banks and stuff come in, and it's just, again, it's the same. They're the confidentiality aspect of like financial institutions and banks, credit unions and stuff like that. They're very hesitant, and a lot of them, like the bigger ones, like I think Andrew Scoggin was actually like a little bit more open to than the other ones, but it's like the same, like you can't really.
Yeah.
So like they were like, retail would be great, like introduction to finances, because you're handling money. So that was kind of, and then that's basically what they said, that it would be tougher for us to get high school students, even if they were 18 in that.
The other ones is, look at some of the smaller stores around, you got your Overshawns, you got your, now it's,
Yep.
where Butler now, Hammond Lumber.
Lumber, yeah.
I mean, they're places that, probably don't have, a little bit more open to certain things that may get people interested, see what it is like, yep.
Yeah, we had a student who was working at, Hammond Lumber. Not.
School, nice.
I'm sorry, Carl, I know you asked her.
It lasts, it'll
It
last.
does happen to all of us.
Liz,
Yeah, you probably have already tried like places like Sunday River, Black Mountain. And all.
Black Mountain, we have had some success with them, that we have, a lot of the students that are working there have sought that employment out on their own, and then they just are like, hey, Mr. Bevel, like, I want, so they, but that's seasonal, obviously seasonal.
Right.
And
Well,
we
in
have a couple-
summertime, they do stuff. up
That's true, they do, but like, a lot of them's like ticket, like they punch the tickets and in like the lift operators and stuff like that. But they do, they're willing to employ our high school students, so that's good.
any other questions? Thank you, Noah. You
Thank you.
You look so spiffy. All right. Next is jobs for Maine, Brad's overview. And she has a flyer, with the,
He's gonna pass
Regional
out.
director?
Yes.
yeah.
Our regional director. So there's a lot of information on that, that is about JMG, at a state level. But if you have any questions on any of that, feel free to ask. I'm mostly gonna be talking about specifically to Deergo kind of information. So the primary objective of the high school program is to keep students fully engaged in their high school programming through graduation. We started out in 1993 as a dropout prevention program, so that's kind of where our roots were. And that's still kind of one of our goals, to keep students engaged and get them through high school. And then to lead them to enrollment, either in a post-secondary, some sort of post-secondary education, or credential or training program, and eventually to get a quality job with a career pathway. What do we do? In the classroom, we focus a lot on career prep. That could be things like skills development, transferable skills development. It could be also, we do career exploration, a lot of career exploration. Focus on college transition skills, leadership opportunities, critical thinking, financial literacy, community service learning, and a whole lot more. We also offer follow-up service. This is something that's unique to JMG. And our follow-up service is during the first year after high school. So any student that I have their senior year has a year of follow-up service with me, where I provide support for their post-secondary life, whether that is in the workplace, in the military, or in education. One of the caveats to that is that with education, if they go to a Maine Community College, anywhere in the University of Maine system, or Thomas College, we have JMG specialists at the college level, so they can enroll in the JMG college level program. And not only do they get extra support that in the form of sometimes financial, like disaster support, they get those kind of supports, academic support, all the supports that they would, get from me. They also can have services for up to 6 years after they graduate college from JMG, up to the age of 24 or 6 years, while they're earning their credential value. So they're getting a lot of extra support into adulthood. And then who do we serve? We serve students who need extra support, including those who face academic barriers, social barriers, and economic challenges as well. So how many students do we serve at Deergo? In this year, school year 25-26, 58 students have taken JMG. The program began in 2018, and since then we have served over 300 students by directly providing JMG services. And that means just the students who have taken JMG, not students who I've had in a learning lab or as an advisory. I do support learning labs pretty much every year, and I have a freshman homeroom advisory group. I currently In addition to all those students I'm serving currently at Dirigo, I have 22 Dirigo grads from last year who I babysit, provide follow-up to check in on them and make sure that they're navigating that first tough year transition into adulthood. Just kind of check in on them and ask them how they're doing and what they need and make sure everything's going all okay. Some highlights of my program, I've had, Noah and I partner a lot on, especially on field trips and sometimes guest speakers as well. So this year, Sunday River, Maine Criminal Justice Academy, UMF, and we have, those are the ones I've had already for field trips. I have upcoming field trips to Origin in Farmington, the Maine State Crime Lab, Franklin Memorial Hospital, hoping for 9 Dragons, as Noah stated, and probably JD Irving as well, if time permits. Guest speakers, so far this year, I've had the New Hampshire Department of Corrections, H&R Block, Sugarloaf, Thomas College, UMF, the US Coast Guard, and Pasto Career Placement. I have scheduled Life After Dirigo with a Dirigo grad who works here in the district, a recent grad of mine. I have an EMS Careers and Self-Care presentation coming from also a JMG Dirigo grad. And I have Safe Voices scheduled to do a presentation on healthy relationships. I've reached out to CMP and Oxford Federal Credit Union as well. Oxford Federal Credit Union typically comes every year to talk a little bit about financial literacy with kids.
One piece that I asked to join Jen tonight to share is our micro-credential model. So in that overview guide, it talks about our main career exploration model, which is Jen is kicking off this year along with the rest of our company. And so what we've done is we've taken our curriculum and kind of said, what are we teaching our students, and what do we want? How do we want to better prepare them for the workforce and for their careers in life? And so we've created this relationship-based competency framework where students are earning micro-credentials or credentials in the form of digital badges. And so they're logging into our learning exchange and they're able to submit the classwork they're doing with Jen and eventually build these stackable credentials in the hopes of building out either digital portfolios. They can put it on their LinkedIn or they can put it on their resume. And so if employers access it digitally, they can click on it and there's this metadata, which sounds really fancy and I've gotten better at explaining it. Basically, when an employer clicks on it, it explains what skills that the students have demonstrated or what they are capable of, and that JMG backs it. So we're putting some of that behind it and also finding ways to put it more onto their resumes and finding that employers are asking more because credentials are, you might hear it a lot more in the workforce.
Is that why Jeremiah took a picture of the chicken coop?
Of what?
He took a picture of my chicken coop that he helped build.
That might have been for his portfolio.
Okay. He's like, I gotta take a
I'm
picture
sure
of
I
the
could
chicken.
find a way to get him credentialed for his chicken coop.
Brad,
I have a question and then, the question is, do you see an opportunity for your program to be, requirements is the right word, but something that each student ought to go through at some point, high school, and maybe more towards junior, senior year?
That's complicated. I'll let you answer that mostly, but I will say that right now, I am taking. I do have 2 standards that are standards for future perspectives. So any student who takes JMG and passes their standards is able to use that instead of taking perspectives.
So take what?
And future perspectives,
2 standards
2 standards, yeah.
out of the whole future perspective.
That's all that future perspectives has for standards.
Oh,
So-
meaning that they do that and,
So,
yeah, that is,
yeah, it does. So they teach lots of things, but
I know.
graduation standards that have to be taught in order to meet the credentials of that class. And JMG and future perspectives overlaps a lot because it's about either coming into school and how to be a high schooler or what you need to know going out of school in terms of resumes and all that. So if they don't get it in JMG, then they still have to take it in future perspectives. So Jen makes sure that the graduation standards of future perspectives are met.
It's like
And
Region 9.
Like Region 9 meets some of our graduation credits, so that kids can get various credits up there.
We worked with guidance to align that so that, because kids were having to take, they were taking JMG and then still having to take future perspectives. And they were coming back and saying, I've already done all these things. So we worked with guidance to make sure that that was aligned.
So I'll,
So it wouldn't be offered as like a full, like we could take all freshmen or juniors and seniors, I'm sorry. Because some of our funding, we were required to, Jen's required to roster at minimum 45 and 55 students. Part of that is just the JMG magic of our relationship-based model and the data too that we collect to ensure that all students are graduating within 4 years. With follow-up services, so that is why there's kind of that set number of 45 and 55. I know she has 58, but we also don't want to say no to students that would benefit either.
so my comment, I've been involved with JMG off and on for about 10 years. I observed the class in a couple months now.
Yeah.
With Jen, and, I was super impressed. I didn't really get a chance to talk about this. Super impressed because it wasn't, lack of a better way of putting it, wasn't cutesy talk about work, it's very real life talks. And, I think, you know, naturally some of the kids are distracted, and they're younger, but it was real life talk about work. It wasn't, Jen was really frank. Talked about showing up on time, the importance of being presentable, communication. And I walked away super impressed that it really wasn't just this high level discussion. She dug right down to make sure that these young people understand there's a big shift that's gonna happen when you leave school. And the workplace is far different than here. And, so I was really impressed. Thank you.
Rachel, then to
How often are classes and are they at Darrell High School?
Yes, so they're all taught at Deergo High School. I function and Pam, but like Pam was, you know, the principal, so for a while. Just like any other teacher, and like you wouldn't know, people don't know necessarily that I'm not a district employee because on face value, what everybody sees is really the same.
Yeah.
I'm doing learning labs, I'm doing detention duty.
So you're here, like.
Yeah, I'm there. I have, my schedule is very much the same as any other teacher in the building. So that it functions very much the same. I currently have, and it does shift a little bit from year to year depending on numbers at which level, but what I typically have is I have a JMG, 2 JMG1 groups. So because we have a block schedule, we have 4 classes each day. So I typically have 2 JMG1 groups, which would be like their intro, their JMG 101. And then the following, each year, I either offer JMG 2 or JMG 3, and they can take them out of order, so they get one or the other. And then I offer a JMG 4, which is for seniors only. So I typically have 2 of each of those, a learning lab and a prep.
So I had a little bit of a question. So you said you follow up with them after graduation too? So
Yes.
You said where that be, it's kind of a 2-part question, I guess. So when you're helping these young folks move forward into adulthood, job wise, are you also focusing on keeping them in our area? That was my first question.
I mean, yes,
Okay.
ideally, we talk a lot about what it is they're looking for. I think honestly, a lot of our kids want to, I mean, there's always a few who want to travel, but a lot of them want to travel and come back here, or just stay here. I think we have really good roots here in this community and, people, my kids are pretty sentimental and, they care about those things. They care about the community.
So I was only asking because you said you brought the Coast Guard in, but I didn't hear you say anything about any of the other service.
Yes, I
Coast Guard is very local and it's
Yeah.
per state.
Yeah,
so-
I do, I haven't had any other recruiters in this year, but I've had. I wanna say every branch but the Marines, and I think that was just a scheduling difficulty. But I've had National Guard, I've had Army, I've had Navy, Air Force, yeah, so.
Cool. So then how do you, but the second part was, how are you following up with these young people once they move on into high school and college? Are you waiting for them to reach out to you, or are you trying to reach them after they leave, or?
So I have an obligation to reach out to them once a month. And, you know, I do that once a month, but I also,
For help?
I know my kids, you know what, I know
Yeah.
my kids, and a lot of these kids have had, some of them had me, we used to have a middle school program until the program got too big at the high school and we had to prioritize high school, but, so some of these kids have had me since 7th grade, some of them have had me 6 years. And so I know them, they know me, some of them talk to me daily. And others are my once a month, and yes or no. And yes, I'm fine, Miss Bell, and that's the end of the discussion. Some of them are texting me or messaging me on Facebook saying, I have a girl who's looking for an apartment right now, so I've been talking to her about that. Technically, she's not even on my roster, and I have kids who are 2 or 3 years out who, can you help me with my resume? Or I know you live in Farmington, can you help me find an apartment? So, I don't cut them off. I mean, I'm obligated to them for a year, but I have kids that have a student who graduated in 2021 who has talked to me every day since graduation. So it's whatever they want out of the relationship and whatever they.
And I would just say that Jen and I had conversations when I was there around like the policy, they'll have kids on themselves on Facebook. But when they graduate, so before they
Yes.
graduate.
Right.
Jen
Yes.
does ask them if they're willing to change numbers, and
Yes.
so there's a way.
I was wondering, I was like, how do you get a hold of them? I was wondering.
Yes. So we do allow that, they're graduating, so that Jen can protect them, but while they're in school, they're not on yet, so.
I have a couple who've sent me invites on Facebook that are pending, waiting until they graduate. But I tell them I'm not clicking accept until you are graduated.
Any other questions? I have a quick one. You said you started 2018, so you must have the data, how successful the kids have been. Have they graduated from the high school? Have they continued on to post-secondary? Where have they gone? Which are they in a trade? You know, to notice that for your program to have success and be known, you look at the data to say, okay, yes, this is work.
I tried digging into that, but we were just finishing up a big data deadline, so I couldn't over ask our data administrator. We also switched data systems right in the middle of, since 2018, I think it was 2021. So he would have had to log into another system. So the one piece I was able to confirm is that one of our organizational outcomes is ensuring that any student that takes JMG during their high school career, they're graduating within 4 years, and we've reached that goal of 90%. And so we were able to confirm since 2018, Dirigo has either met that or been above that 90% in all years.
I'll add to that, every senior that I've had graduates their senior.
Well, I'd like to see the follow-up too, because for us to continue a program, you know, to fund it.
Yeah.
We're usually given the data, and you know, you can see the graduation in the 90% or more.
I can get that.
Okay. Natalie
So,
and Carl.
I guess my question now is, without the program at the middle school, how are we like identifying kiddos that come in, like who gets either offered JMG one, like how are we kind of identifying that target group of kiddos?
So, I typically reach out to, right around this time of year, I reach out to, all of the 8th grade, all of the special ed, a lot of the ed techs, because I feel like ed techs are really boots on the ground and they get to see some of the nitty gritty that, other people might not see. And I reach out to Lisa because Lisa Sandlin is a goddess and she knows those kids. So I reach out to them and I kind of I reintroduce myself, what my program is, what we're looking, you know, like who a JMG student is. And I start taking nominations, and then I sit down with my advisory committee which is Kaylin, I think Brenna, Michelle Rougeau, and Diana Doherty. I strategically put Diana on the team because she works at both buildings, so I can also get a little intel from her. She knows what I'm looking for, and she knows a lot about my program, so she's really good at being able to tell me who's a good fit. And Lisa also is really good at saying, this is a JMG kid. So that's typically what I do. It was easier when, like, I was right there in the school and you're mine next year, but I still am able to make it work that way. Luckily, being a small district, it's really hard.
So the two programs seem very similar. Is there any credits for graduation on either one? It's more a question of where.
So the,
Is it like grad school?
it's an elective, JMP's elective, but they also get their future prospective credit. So there are some credit standards in JMP. At this time, I would have to go back and see, I'm not sure what they gave. Yeah, I'm not sure if they did credits for ELO, I would have to go back and check.
And do they compete for students?
They don't really compete for students because Jen's doing more like that prep work on doing resumes and preparing, and Noah's getting them actually out there in the.
So like. Noah's, is Noah grants also, or?
Noah was under grant. And it ends at the end of September, so we could factor in that month of September out of his total cost for next year, but then the rest of it would be out.
And this one.
And JMG,
This one we pay like
we pay about 28,000, 27,500, 27,000, and that's about a third of the cost of the program.
Those are just my questions. I know if they're competing.
No, they work well together, and a lot of
Very
the,
similar.
yes, but they're also very different in terms of what they're.
Very similar.
Any other questions? Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Hey, are you the nutrition?
No, I've got buildings around the fence to take
Oh,
next.
That's to be.
Oh, I missed it. I wrote over
You're
it.
Kenny.
Sorry, Kenny, I wrote over you.
That's okay.
I don't know
It's
what they
annoying.
Kenny, what's beeping?
I'll get it.
Well, it's a frequent flyer, by the way,
He's.
that mode.
Somebody opened it.
Yeah, they opened it up, not the eight, no, that was.
Thank you, ma'am, I'm going to.
Thank you. Oh, I took my folder home, huh?
Oh, Tina.
Is that the, I was supposed to bring the folder back?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's in my car. I'll get it to you next week.
No, you're fine.
Didn't you say we could take it?
Yeah, but you gotta remember to bring it back.
Oh,
We gave you new budget folders,
Oh, I'll bring it back. I didn't know I was.
and if you take it home, then we don't give you another one.
Oh,
No,
no.
only one.
Well, I took it home.
And you get your attention.
I didn't know I was supposed to just
We're
leave
gonna
it
type
back.
it.
That's all right. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
You're on.
Yes.
Good. So I'll go over my budget here a little bit. Our mission for the district is to provide, maintain and clean, safe buildings, athletic fields, and provide safe and local transportation to students. Our custodians, we have 5 buildings that they clean and maintain. We have 12 bus runs a day. We're currently running 4 vans. Most of them, we're transitioning students from WFIP back and forth. Some of them come to this district. We do run 1 bus to Margaret Murphy every day. We have 6 students that we transport down there. 2 mechanics in our maintenance facility. We currently have 21 buses, 5 vans, 1 food van, 2 plow trucks, 3 tractors, used for mowing and snow removal. The district has 23 acres of athletic fields that we maintain. Last year, we traveled approximately 190,000 miles on road transportation. A lot of that is Margaret Murphy, it's about 40,000 a year just back and forth office. The new bus garage is working out very well. The efficiency is just huge, having a mechanic there in the morning, if somebody's got just a light out or some little thing they can fix and go on their way, so that's worked out really nice. Moving on to the budget itself, transportation, there is a 5% decrease in vehicle insurance. We've been watching the diesel fuel. We were just, well,
Oh, shoot. Let's hope one of it's right then.
yeah, we were close. 5:21 this morning. But everybody knows what's going on, so I think we just got to wait it out and see.
Yeah.
I did use the budget figures that I was seeing before this happened, so hopefully we can get back to that. Last year, we put 20,000 in the budget, regular budget for a van. A lot of our grounds equipment is getting old and used. We say this school is, the new school is 20 years old. A lot of the equipment that we use for the grounds, is 20 years old, and it's, some of it's getting pretty well used up, so. What I did is I shifted, the 20,000 that we had used for a van into a zero turn mower, with a bagger and everything for the athletic fields. We did get permission from the state or approval from the state of new bus. What I'd like to do next year is put a new bus down to Margaret Murphy. That bus is gonna have 200,000 on it come the end of the school year. What I did is I put in for an addition to the fleet. There's still a lot of use in that bus. It's a small bus. We have a lot of need for it. That would give us a spare lift for the handicapped students that we have, so it worked out very well. So that's why I put in for an addition.
Quick question, so it's this coming budget you're gonna have for the new Margaret Murphy? Okay.
Right, yeah, so it'll be next fall before we receive it. The maintenance budget, the buildings, we banked on about 5% increase on liability property insurance. Again, the same thing as diesel, fuel oil. We were close, and so I used the budget figures that we had, we were getting. The propane, the same thing. The propane had gone up a lot compared to diesel and the heating oil. So we were holding back on that, but so I did use the price that I was getting on that. In the budget, turning over. Last year, we had $42,724 built into the budget for site improvements. The budget that I have right now with the increases, I haven't put any site improvements in. So what we did is we put the add-ons. We're really in need of a snow blower to go behind one of our tractors over here at the elementary school. Derigo Middle School, the storage doors that are off in the gym. There's a lot of unit vents and a lot of the heating things are in there as well as storage. And the doors, just from use, they're getting pretty bad, and we really don't need people in there that really doesn't belong in there, so I put in for new doors. Derigo High School, go back where you go into the office, and there's a metal bulkhead there. We've replaced it twice. What I'd like to do with our crew is build like a regular, I call it a doghouse, but a wooden building, then run the roof out over the steps so we could have some railings and everything there. The 4,000 is basically materials. We can do it within ourselves and as a crew. I did work with E&W on putting in new lights at the gym, go with the LED and get rid of the old sodium lights. Efficiency made would give us 4,900 towards it. The total price with labor was 7232 if we were to go that way. There's a really good savings on just electricity when you go to LEDs rather than the old sodium lights. And then out back of the gym, basically where that room is that the kids use the athletic people, there's a catch basin here that's starting to fail, that the cement is getting bad, it's kind of collapsed in. I put a big plate over it just so nobody can,
Same here.
so to be safe, but, that really should be addressed this year too, so. So that's my budget.
Questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ms.
When you do these budget things, aren't it's all the insurance for all the buildings and all that already calculated like in the Zoom?
So these, they will be calculated in the main budget, but these are the ones that are under Kenny's budget.
Mhm.
So that's why he talks about it here. The ones in the general budget will be like insurance for teachers and that kind of stuff.
And we
So
don't
they're
give
broken
the
down.
amount for a while.
They're broken down differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What they fall under. And we put in 5% here because we got a notice from.
Yeah.
These companies saying that the maximum will be 5%, so hopefully it'll be a little less than that. We have not received maximum on. Health insurance for employees, so
What
it's
is
still sitting on 15% in the budget on that.
The other question is, what is the purpose, or explain to me, what is Margaret Murphy and the facility and offer, what does that do?
So the Margaret Murphy is a out of district placement for students with. Typically Margaret Murphy deals with autism and kids with high needs.
So how many children are down there?
So currently have.
Six.
Six.
We have 4 stops down here that we go to.
Yeah, so is it like really, is it with the amount of money that we're spending and liability and insurance and all that, is it way out what we're getting paid for? To do that, it's.
We pay more for the tuition. It's the students that their needs cannot be met at Darago.
Right,
And their needs can't be met up to, I call it, so they have different, with their day trees.
But we're legally responsible to cover.
Oh,
that.
Right, but we don't have, like Kenny said, there was 6 of them. It's not like there's 6 of them in 4th grade.
Yeah.
So we can't really run a program here because there's so many various needs that. If you're
Different
running,
level.
so they're on a superintendent's,
they're not on the superintendent's agreement, they're our kids.
okay.
And we just pay to bring them to these out of district placements.
We provide the transportation and pay the tuition.
We pay, yeah, we pay for.
We have had 2 students within the last probably 2 or 3 years that have actually transitioned back.
They have to be, as soon as they're ready, we transition them
Yeah.
back.
No, just trying to understand the
Yeah.
program, why it's so expensive and all of that.
They're great kids, we just
Yeah.
don't have the capacity to meet their needs and.
And there's no
so-
grants or anything that help with that? Okay,
So, well, part of the money comes through ED 279s for special ed for funding, but they certainly don't pay all of it.
yeah, understand. Okay, thanks.
Kenny, your add-ons they're not in your budget, correct?
They're right here.
They will be in the full budget that you see next.
They won't or will,
They will not.
They
are
will not.
add-ons.
unless we get
Unless you-
some.
So
Good,
the
you
so
guys
the
can put them in.
42,000 will be taken out. Right, is that what,
There's,
They're not in.
so
the 42,000 that we
Is
had
what we had-
last year, it's not.
is not. And then these are ads.
Correct.
Any other questions for Kenny?
Thank you.
Thank you. And now,
And typically Gina does an overview with
Yeah.
like what she needs for next, and as you know, Gina's out on medical leave, so we wrap that into the all other budget areas.
so you'll do it
We're
over.
just gonna do it all at once.
All right, oh, that's next.
It is next. And since that we have such a small audience, I'm just going to stay in my seat, not go up to the podium. So we broke these down into the areas that we have them budgeted in. So board of directors, we are looking to go up about 10%. Part of that is the increased cost of the audit, which is going up next year. And then we also put in money here for staff appreciation district-wide. The administrative team has talked about that, like where does this money belong? It's really unfortunate. While I was principal and Charlie and Jason and all of us and Kenny, like a lot of the staff appreciation has come out of our own buckets. And we've talked about like that doesn't seem like that's the place that it needs to be happening, so we put money in here this year for staff appreciation days. Board election services, remain the same. Office of the superintendent did increase, in large part because of the copier, printer maintenance, and then the actual cost of membership, so memberships that I belong to have gone up. Business office, we did have a little bit of an increase because, NASBO, which Mary belongs to, because that is the business managers group, has increased their membership. Teacher certification, we kept the same. Capital debt, we'll see that's gone down about 3%. Because we're getting at the tail end of paying for this beautiful building that we're sitting in. Out of district transportation, we kept the same, it seems to be enough. English language learners, kept it the same. Just in case, we didn't have anybody this year that qualified for English as a second language or English language learners. But we wanna make sure that's in there, because when we have students that need that, we wanna make sure, one, that we get them assessed with our contract service provider, and that we provide them with things on it. And then under health services, they did have a decrease, the nurses had a slight decrease. And then gifted and talented went up about 1%, and it's basically in their supply line. And then overall, in all other areas, we were down about 0.6%. Question?
So this is our, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, Tina.
So this is our overall budget for now, or what we're looking.
No,
Okay.
this is just these cost centers.
All under.
Next, at our next meeting, you will get an overall
Of everything.
full budget of all the pieces you've heard about.
I figured, I was just hoping. but-
Yeah, it's not the full budget, so.
Do we still, I know we budget the same amount, food service, do we still, how is that?
So we're doing pretty well. We haven't needed that much to offset the deficit of food service. However, we've talked about it with Gina, Mary and I talked about it again today. We feel like we should leave it there, because what happens is we don't have any other lines for replacing equipment. So it gives Gina the buffer, like if we don't spend it all, she comes to you and says, I really need a new dishwasher here, I need a new, and it gives us the money that we wouldn't have otherwise to update it.
Any other questions? What's next? Oh, we already did that, okay.
Any apologies, because I do have a question. And apologies, I missed a couple meetings, so if this has been discussed, you can shut me down. But just wondering, with pending legislation around school budgets. Is there any like thought that anything will get passed this spring that would impact us for next year, or what's being discussed in Augusta would be future looking so that we're okay to budget?
It's very clear that we have our 79s for FY 27 that will stand. And a new legislation will start in the FY 28. Yeah.
Follow up to that, you said to us, and I didn't read it. But, well, I started to, but I knew it would take a while to figure out. And you, when you, I know you read it in your spare time. The one about what the committee recommended.
Yeah.
What are the recommendations that you feel are good, and are there oops?
So, there's always going to be winners and losers.
Yeah.
When you read to a funding formula. The pieces that I really like about it are they've taken out the larger discrepancies of. If you just think about on the dollar, like there's some places in northern Maine that were getting less than $1 on the dollar, and some places in southern Maine that were getting more than $1 on the dollar because of cost of living. So they've kind of kept that better, and nobody can go below 1, which is good, because you should always get $1 on your dollar. The other piece that they're looking at is your free and reduced numbers, you're economically disadvantaged. I did attend a workshop last Thursday, and from what I can see running the numbers and calculating, other districts that they've already calculated that are similar to us, will be seeing an increase. It'll be more of the affluent areas, like you might have seen on the news last night, I know Scarborough was on there, because they're going to see a decrease. And so, again, winners and losers, I've asked a couple of times if they consider doing full harmless, so that there's a small, quick touch, a more leveled way to help the districts that are going to see a loss. I don't believe that will be our stuff, I think we will see an improvement in our ED 279, given our area and our
Economic situation.
It's interesting, they want, I remember, old lady, me. Remember when not you. The affluent ones had a hissy fit. They've got special programming services. Cause we used to, we are not getting any money, we don't get our fair share. Then they spin to central program services, which has some flaws. Which they say, oh, we give, no, you don't cover what we. I'd love for them to have, how many nurses, one nurse for that many people, 3 months. And then now we're gonna go back, so it'll be interesting to watch. Cause I've seen it where they were mad, they got the money, cause I went to, it was Save Our Schools, I went to Augusta and said, you got a pool. I just wanna survive, we don't have pools, we don't have this is what we got.
I think it's really hard, and the other piece of feedback that I gave at the meeting last Thursday was, I feel like not only like, should they look at the ones that are going to be on the losing end, because that's really challenging, no matter where they're at. There's also like, can we look at any way of doing a 3 to 5 year projection, so that we're not going like this every year, wondering what our EP 279 is gonna look like. So that isn't on the table yet, but I think it's going to be.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
I just went to a training on Saturday, support company. And there is a new program out, that you can do your 8279 and get all these projections.
So we can project, but we don't know what actual pot of money is going to be put in there at the state of Maine.
Right, but it's,
So it's the pot's the same, we can project out.
but
like,
all of this information was available. And we were able to see all of it.
What they do is they give us the first one. And in the past, whoops, we're not given that much money, and we'd be less, or we'd be a little more. We never know, it depends on what the legislature did every year. Because the first one, we know by the first one, okay. So far lately, it's been okay.
You don't just put one in, right, November, whenever it was, right there, you did your numbers.
we got our.
Yeah, they got
Right,
the
yeah.
prelim,
Right.
and then they get the final one went in March, April,
Right.
May, June, sometime.
And you're
actually-
saying what they do in Augusta now is what could affect that.
And it could affect it later, because I remember one year, we didn't get money till July. Or was it June? It was close. It was really close to when,
So that number could change, what you're saying,
yeah,
based on.
And what I'm saying is like, when I've talked to the Department of Education about this and their finance department, because I've said, when I was a new superintendent, I'm like, how do I predict what I get next year? And they said, you really can't, because as they explained it, there's a pot of money. And they run it through the formula, so if the pot of money is less, then obviously coming out the other end, you're gonna have less, and if the pot of money's more. You might have more, depending on like if your economic status went up or down, and somebody else went up or down, or. So there's so many variables that that it's challenging to say. To really closely predict what we're gonna get in future.
I'd like to know, how do we get Augusta to pay for us to have an indoor swimming pool? That's.
They don't pay for that, like.
no, they don't, they have the money.
Sounds a place.
And we're kind of fortunate in our location, because. Like I was talking to even as close as 17, they lose people because. They can drive 35 minutes and make 35,000 more than what they're paying in this area.
Sure.
Because the further south you go.
Yeah.
The salaries are higher, because they can pay more than what the state's giving them in their ED 279, and they're paying for their pools, they're paying for the indoor tracks, they're like, you know what I mean, it's different than. So they're not paying, the state's not paying for the pools and the indoor.
But that's the money.
They're paying at this level for all of us, but they can go above
Yeah,
EPA.
it used to be
Right.
where nobody wanted to go above Auburn, but now we've been fortunate. Bruce? Yeah.
Well, just following up on the central programs, the formula that talk about, they've also got 2 bills out there that they're looking at. One is to equilibrate things, and like you said, it's gonna be winners and losers, and then there was a second one that was really wishy-washy what they were gonna do. And I'm hoping they steer away from that, because it was really gonna mess the formula up,
That's tomorrow.
so.
They go in and
I
vote
think
on.
they can go again tomorrow, yeah.
So, okay, any other lovely budget money? Then I can throw it in the loop, we have a new guy, we'll have a new governor. That will really change things. All right, I'm hoping 55. All right, we're on to second reading of policy EB, environmental and, no, it is safety and safety program. Could I get a motion,
So-
please? And a second?
Second.
There's been no changes since the first reading. All those in favor? Thank you. Second reading of changes of policy BEDJ, broadcasting taping of school board. Could I get a motion? And a second?
Second.
No changes since the first. All those in favor? Thank you. All right, second reading of policy CHD administration in the absence of policy. Can I get a motion, please? And a second?
Second.
No changes. All those in favor? You already deal, right? Number. Okay, second reading of policy of changes to CHA, development of administrative regulations. Could I get a motion, please? And a second?
Second.
No changes since the first reading. All those in favor? Thank you. Okay, second reading of two changes, JICIA, weapons, violence, and school safety. Can I get a motion, please? And a second?
Second.
No changes since the first reading. All those in favor? Thank you. Last, second reading of the policy EBBT, temperature standards for schools. Could I get a motion, please? And a second.
And a second, yep.
No changes since the first. All those in favor? Thank you. Board member comments. Bruce,
I just had one more thing I wanted to remind people for Region 9 that our public budget hearing is March 26th. There's a meeting if you're closer to the Bethel, it's at 6 p.m. If you want to be at Region 9, it's at 7:30. And then our regional budget meeting is May 6th at 6 p.m. at Region 9.
so the March one is
The March
just informational?
is informational, yeah, it's a public,
Okay.
it's a public budget hearings, March
Yeah.
26th. And it's at the Bethel, if you're close to Bethel, that's at 6 p.m. And if you want to be at Region 9, it's at 7:30.
Okay, got it.
And then the regional budget meeting is May 6th at 6 p.m. at Region 9.
Region 9. Okay, any other board member comments?
Okay.
All right, superintendent's report.
I'm gonna start with a little brag today. Jericho High School senior Carter Fuller. He has participated in the Outdoor Skills and Leadership Program at Region 9 for his high school career. He applied to and was accepted to a competitive Bald Mountain Meadow program for students after he graduates in June. It's, this application process included an essay and why he wanted to attend. Carter was selected as a recipient and will be traveling to Alaska for an internship June 26th to July 6th at Bristol Bay. It's entitled Searching for Wilderness, and some of the highlights of the program include flying into remote Alaska on a bush plane. He'll be fishing the sockeye salmon run, watching the wild world's largest brown bears. And then the program also asks them to think deeply about the complex challenges facing wild places and how they can advocate for them. And the ultimate end goal of the program is to build confidence and comfort so he can travel anywhere and be a participant in that. I'm really proud of Carter, and I really hope to hear all about his experience when he gets back. I picture Carter as a freshman, he was pretty quiet, so for him to take on this huge undertaking when he graduates is really super exciting. Yeah, it's really cool. As Bruce previously said, the preliminary information that I have received from Region 9 is that they're looking at a 12.85% budget increase. if that proposed budget does go through, the RSU six portion will be going up $74,190.68, which equals a 75.82% increase from FY 26 FY 27, from 97,850 this year to $172,040.68 next year. There are some factors behind that. We do have more kids attending, which is great. They also expect their 79 changes and their carryover changes too. So there's a few reasons why their 12.85% ends up being 75.8% for us. I filled in for Charlie for the last week or so. He was away on a mission trip with Caden, and they went to Mexico. It looked like, I saw pictures, it looked like an outstanding father-son opportunity and a way to help people in need, which was great. The staff at Darigo Elementary School, I have to say, is outstanding. I was able to complete a number of observations, including the ones that Charlie specifically asked me to do. Honestly, it was really fun to be an elementary school principal for that length of time. It really allowed me to get a good feel for the building and how it was running. I did end my time here by making them all cookies, put a little pressure on Charlie. And then I also covered the high school today, and I'll be doing that again Thursday, so I will. 9 out of my last 10 days have been acting principal somewhere, which is actually really good. It's a little tiring. I do not know how I did it for 9 years. I want to say that the administrative team visited Nine Dragons today in lieu of having our administrative team meeting. Lucas Preble provided us with a thorough tour of the mill. I just want to give a huge thank you to Nine Dragons for hosting us. We decided we wanted to go so that we could talk like reasonably to our students about like, what are the opportunities there and what does it look like? Because as Charlie said, he's lived here his whole life and never been in Nine Dragons. So it was just really kind of nice to get inside our community and places and see what's going on. And then that's funny. I took the Cub Scouts years ago, got Gilbert, and I don't think they let them go in anymore. I will invite Penny back up because he had the building grounds of the presentation at the top.
So I thought I'd just kind of go over some of the things that we do, you know, in my mission statement, I said we provide safe buildings, transportation, grounds and everything. So I just thought I'd kind of go over some of the things that we do to make sure this happens. In my budget, we have a line that says license dues and inspections and also contracted services. So like plumbing and any of our electrical needs would come out of contracted services. A lot of this is kind of inspections and things that we do. Obviously, if we have a need, we take care of our plumbing, electrical needs. We have our roofs inspected once a year. If there are any repairs or like today, we had a little leak here in the elementary school, so they come up and fix that. So we're contracted with IRC to do that. Our boilers through the insurance company have to be inspected once a year. And then we get a certificate through the state for all of our boilers. That includes any pressure vessels, so any air compressors or anything that generates pressure has to be inspected. So we get certificates for that every once a year, inspected. Our bleachers in all the buildings, all of our outside bleachers are all inspected every year through Hussey Seating. We've been using Johnson Controls, so they would come in and make sure all of our smoke detectors, any of the fire alarms, like any of the lighting, any of that is all inspected every year. The sprinkler system, this school is sprinklerized, the other two aren't. So all the pumps and everything in the sprinkler system all has to be checked. Fire extinguishers are checked once a month. We do have a company that comes in once a year to check everything. They change the powder. That includes the buses and the buildings. Our kitchen hoods, a lot of the kitchen hoods, not only do they filter, but they also have propane heaters in them. That's a makeup air. So we're kind of taking exhaust air off, but bringing fresh air in. So we preheat the air coming in. Them are all inspected. The water here at the elementary school is a private system, so once a month, there's a water sample that's taken. It's sent to a laboratory, out-of-state laboratory, so they check for chloroform and bacteria. The PFAS, we're on our second year of that, program in the basement. We had that checked this year. There's two lines of vessels down there, and so they check the PFAS in between, and that's doing very well. They figure that the vessels are probably at least good for another 2 years. So that system is working, really well. The elevators, we have to have them inspected. We have a quarterly maintenance, but we also have to have them inspected once a year and with a certificate through the state. And when I say they're inspected, the mechanical pieces of it is inspected. There has to be a call out, so if something happens inside, they can call out, that has to be checked, and also the fire alarm, that has to be inspected. Exit lights are all done, in case of emergency, we lose power. The man list, we have 2 man lists that we use in our gyms and a lot of our buildings, we have to have them inspected every year. Backflow, so that's, in all our water systems, incoming, raw water is so that no bacteria or anything can back into the system, so that have to be checked and inspected every year. The air filters, in all of our buildings are changed twice a year. We are using what they call the MERV 13 filter. It's a hospital filter. Grease traps are cleaned every year. All 3 buildings have, grease traps. Two of them are on the outside of the building. The middle school is on the inside. Oil tanks are inspected every year. Precision tanks from Jay comes in and inspects them, all the bungs, and they make sure that the tanks are in good condition. There's no water getting in, oil or anything going out. Driveway drains, we clean them every year. We have them vacuumed out, so they work properly. Our septic system, here at the elementary school, it is a private system. The other 2 are on the town, so we have that, pumped out and inspected every year. Moving on to heat and cooling, the buildings, all 3 of our buildings now are set up so that we are monitoring carbon dioxide. So if we breathe out dioxide, and I use this analogy, like if you're in the gym and all of a sudden you kind of feel a fresh air, cool air, that sensing that, okay, the monoxide is a little bit high, so we got to introduce fresh air. So all of our classrooms are like that now. And the other, the carbon monoxide, any place that there's heating oil or propane, we have monitors that. If we have a leak or anything like that, we can discuss that quickly. On a little bit on the grounds, I found the salt this year for all of our sidewalks and everything. It was supposed to be environmental safe. And I believe it was, because they took a lot of the chemicals out of some of the product that we've been buying. And it seemed to work really well. We had a good test this winter with the snow and the ice. The grounds, we're not using any sprays. We used to spray our athletic fields for weeds, the infields for softball, baseball. We've eliminated that. Moving on to bus safety. Our drivers have to have physicals through the state every year. We do in a random test, drug alcohol testing. The state police come in. We're lucky enough, our buses are really good shape, so they, instead of coming in twice a year, the state police comes in twice. We're scheduled for August 12th this year. There is a daily sheet that the drivers fill out every day on their bus chat. So what they do is they go down through everything that has to be checked off and chat. The mechanic gets a copy, and then there's a copy that stays in the bus. We have to keep these for 3 years on record. All of our buses are equipped with cross gates, the gate that comes out when the lights come on. Probably over half of the fleet, they offered an option quite a few years ago, but we've been taking advantage of it. But We can adjust the mirrors within the bus, so the driver can sit there and adjust everything, not have to get out, move and get back in and everything. Cameras, we've got three buses and one van that has the cameras, we found them very helpful. So hoping we can get a couple more installed, and if we buy new buses, we'll make sure that we put the cameras in. We do 2 evacuations a year. That's an evacuation and a training session for the students. So we go through fire extinguishers, all the escape hatches, the side windows, the 2 on the roof. And then every April, the state puts on a training in Farmington, so I make it mandatory, so all of our people go over and be, take part of that. That's my report.
Question. Liz,
When you talked about the bleachers, you're talking interior?
Interior and exterior.
and that's,
Okay, what shape is the one over by the football field?
It passes inspection, yeah, I mean,
it used to be worse.
yeah, we do keep an eye on the planks and everything and keep up with that. But they are steel and
So like the town, town owns the fields, but we use them and we do the upkeep.
But yeah, that's the agreement.
So that's considered upkeep on this.
well, so I believe the Ion Power Fund,
Okay.
so I think any site improvements there, the town is responsible.
I think that's
for half,
targeted for that.
or we're
Yeah.
responsible for half, I guess.
Bruce,
So our bus inspections are just once a year, correct?
Yes.
Okay, for that first year, I think you said it usually twice a year, but we only do it once. a
Yeah,
year.
well, a lot of districts have to have it twice a year, but ours have been in such good shape, they come once a year and we.
Now, are we getting, I know I asked this when we met with the Building and Grounds Committee. Some of the buses getting these sensors for the doors.
So we have one, we actually called the corners to see, because I believe the state is going to fund some of this. And you can't buy them right now. Yeah, we're even, these cross gates that we have, we actually stock a couple, but they're plastic. And with cold weather, they break kind of easily with the rough roads and everything, so we stock them, but at this point right now, we're waiting to get some more, everything is gone, but. Yeah, a lot of the safety stuff now, since the state's put the money up, because they're gonna fund this too on the cross gates, I believe.
we should have the door.
Yeah.
Yes. Any other questions? Go ahead, Carl.
Hey, while we're here at this building, how the fields, the athletic fields here, they being used or they just?
Yeah, we do practices up here, soccer uses them a lot.
Yeah.
The kids here for, phys ed, they use them a lot at that, so, yeah.
No, you kind of burst my bubble there. I was thinking, so the town, Harlow owns all the fields around the school.
Yeah, it's the only ones we own, of course, the middle school and these two.
Do we have 50 acres between the middle school and this one?
What's that, Cal?
50 acres?
23. We maintain 23.
It's like, all these companies, they have to, wait, because you said you're talking about carbon. They have to pay carbon credits for non-development land that takes carbon out of the atmosphere. You're not gonna develop it, I just like to apply for it. They have companies that get a cut, they'll do all the work, they just like give you $8 an acre, they take 3 or 4 or 5, probably 10. Like you sell to Walmart, or Sears, or not Sears,
What makes it a little tough with these two fields is you can't irrigate. We have,
not at all, you just can't develop it. They just have-
Hollow in the middle.
they just have to have
set up.
plant growth.
We can irrigate, but we can't.
No, that's the worst soil.
We're at the mercy of the nature.
Yeah, we've had good, and thank God we have an excellent grounds people, because we never know, like last year was brutal when it was
Yeah.
drought, but I've seen it worse where we didn't even have grass. You know,
Yeah, and even, like Hollow, geez, we put the, water, they say an inch a day. It's like, them water reels put out 60 gallons a minute. And we're usually running 2 of them to try, and we still can't keep it.
and you can't use it much, boy, he gets yelled at.
We got lucky last year, we put some nitrogen down and got some green, and that green did back up pretty
Yeah,
good.
he said it.
That's just.
Tina,
I have a question, where the fields over by the high school belong to the town, right?
Right.
So why were they roped off during the football season? Someone from, I'm assuming athletics, had taken a rope and tied it to one of the dugouts and run it. Why is that?
I know the answer, go ahead. Okay, so they were roped off for safety reasons, because there are a lot of kids that run around out there, it's not well lit, it's not monitored. And we were trying to keep people in a contained area, so we can at least somewhat monitoring. Sarah and I talked about it, like, kind of my thought at first was like, parents' responsibility, but if somebody comes and they get hurt out there, it's probably gonna come back to us, so we were trying to contain how far kids were
Yeah, but-
going out into the dark.
But it's owned by the town, and kids are out on the field all the time. During the
I thought
day,
just-
not during school hours, like in the summer and stuff, they're out there.
Perfect, yeah. It's just that they roped off for football games just because it's dark over there, it's not lit, and it's just, it just felt like it would be better to try to keep them all in the lit spaces.
But it's been like that for years.
Yep,
and
and we've had some issues out there, so we want to
I
try.
think it was right next door, they tackled the soccer goalie, I know, but I thought they just did the infield because I know Jay said, oh, that ain't gonna work.
No,
You are not gonna contain them.
no, as I say, there were still kids over there.
Yeah, they're not gonna, and they.
Yeah.
Any other questions for
No.
Kenny? Thank you, Kenny.
I'm gonna keep going then. So reporting of stipends, we have Alyssa Newhall coming on as the Darrell High School JV softball coach. We have resignations, Kathy McDonald, who's in Darrell Elementary School Ed Tech 3, is retiring at the end of this contract year. Matthew Lloyd, mechanic, is resigning as of March 18th. 6, we have transfers, Melissa Littlehale from the Math Interventionist Ed Tech 3 to Special Education Ed Tech 3 at the middle school starting the next school year. And Al Kutcher from ELA Interventionist Ed Tech 3 to Special Education Ed Tech 3 at the middle school to start next year as well.
Cause I know Jason switched, he got a teacher, so I assume they didn't bump anybody.
Right, those were the two interventionist ed techs that
Yeah.
I'd rather get a teacher for, and we have,
All internal switches.
Yeah, it's like kind of a shuffle.
right, so what happened is we had these two ed tech positions, one had a substitute in it right now, and one had a one-year position person in. So they will take those.
Okay. All right, no student person, policies, March 24th. At 5 o'clock at Darrell High School, finance.
We might have to change it.
Well,
If the finance committee can stay for like 2 minutes afterwards, so we can discuss, and we might get to.
Did anybody read these things?
I did, I had,
You did?
I asked a couple questions, I did read them.
I'm gonna give you the guide to, 5-second guide to read.
Well, do it, please, I'd love to hear.
Alright, so one is mandated by the government that we have to use accounting methods that pass their standards. But there's a page in there, if you wanna look at the whole budget, real easy. Go to page 10. Fiscal report, I'm on the wrong one, which has everything right there, really simple, instead of the ones that we get. So you can look at all.
What page is that? The little one?
Page 10 in the accounting, I have the wrong book.
Okay.
So, and then I had a question, what are school categorical programs? I don't know, I mean,
I don't either.
it's only to the tune of 2.2 million. I just know how they group them, I'm trying to think. I could Google it, I thought I did Google it, nothing did wrong. What was it
I think it's
called?
professional.
School category,
That's it.
but it's under expenses.
We will ask him for clarification on what that
That's
exactly.
it, that's the only question I really had.
Yeah.
And then, so like. On that one also, it has like all our possible deficiencies. And, think it was page 9 of this one here, and it'll, not page 9, page.
Berlin. Yeah, 9 of the city.
9 and 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So it's the same thing that always happens. We have a very well qualified business manager, superintendent. But we have nobody to like police the accounting practices without like hiring in other people. So they have a problem with that every year. That was one of the only problems we had. That at the end of the year, when the fiscal year ends, sometimes we have payments in next year, or we prepaid. They have a little bit of a problem with that. And then the only thing they really found was they went and counted food. And
counted food?
they counted food, they counted 40 items. 5 of them didn't match inventory, so. And they think we should try to, maybe do that, but that's a tough thing to do.
Wait a minute, are you being count how many cans of beans? you have?
Yeah.
Oh, well, dear.
That's on page,
I missed that one.
you gotta do this, you gotta.
I did, but I skipped over.
You wanna skip that one. And then there's some other interesting things like, you could read about like our share of the pension plans, or we have to pay.
Oh, and I know
state
that.
retirement. That was kind of interesting. And the fun fact is, the 23 budget increased 317,000, 23 to 24. Local assessments went up within $200, the same figure. 23. Another fun fact is, our expenditures are less than our assets with our capital.
Did you look up that? That we got.
By only $500. No, what is that?
What it says, cross-categorical special education program to train the teachers
Special
to
ed.
instruct students with diverse mixed disabilities. Within one classroom, focusing on individualized support rather than single disability special education.
I did read the thing when you mentioned about the deficiencies, how we have a
It's the
small.
same thing he says.
But I just wanted to iterate, and that's what I was gonna do for board member comment is. The finance committee is very important, the people that sign the warrants. That is our checks and balances. I mean, Pam looks at it, Mary, look at it, they both, but that is our duty to really look, and I know you do, and I always hear, through the years, but it's really, really important, because I think we're very active on that. That's why we do years ago, there was $100. That was nice. I think it was our.
I don't have $100.
No. So, thank you, Carmen, and let you know,
That's fine, I'll say, that's tough.
oh,
Those are tough.
yeah.
One of those big stakes.
Curriculum committee, Cynthia, that was the faux pas in the minutes. You have for the curriculum committee, March 112 instead.
Okay.
3:30.
I will fix it.
Yeah, thank you. All right, 3:30 at DHS. Dropout prevention committee is at March 16th at 3:00. Technology and no executive session. Did I miss anybody in any of the things?
Yeah,
Did you say anything about building and ground?
You are
Personnel
so
and-
sorry.
Personnel.
Buildings and grounds.
Well, we did meet,
Yes, you
but I
did.
can't say anything because Kenny spilled it out.
He spilled it all.
Missed that.
so curriculum committee,
Is that?
they're always scheduled on times I can never be at. So I've been on that committee for 3 years and I have attended very few meetings. Like
And,
3.
and I do,
So
I
what do
know
I do?
Jason does it, but it is a board committee, so I'm gonna let Brad deal with that one.
I'll deal with it.
Yeah, because it's true, it's a board committee.
What's the point on me being
You
on a committee?
can't, you can't go at 3:30.
I can't, no, I'm off Thursdays and Fridays, but on Thursday afternoon, I have another commitment, because Vivian's part of the Maine State Ballet, and I have to get her there. And she wants to be on it, I can't physically be there, so,
So the number one reason is
Jason,
everybody has so many meetings. And waiting until, 4, 5, 6 o'clock.
Is
not
too late.
Feasible.
right,
I think that's been the main reason.
So do
We
you
can look at
wanna-
different days.
I can step back, so
And
someone
let
else.
Rachel.
Yeah, that's fine, because somebody needs to be there, and I can't be there, so,
But we can look at a different day too, so.
Yeah,
yeah.
While you're on that, The biology, what grade is biology?
Used to be soft.
High school.
That's what I thought.
It's
Tenth grade, sophomore.
I don't know if it's changed, cause
Yeah.
they only get a half of
It's,
chemistry.
we're reading some new book.
Yes,
Yeah,
Seems like it's an advanced placement.
Yes.
that
It
is,
is.
it is. And I read through the book. I did get the book.
no, it's not.
I did get to look at the book, thanks to Kathleen.
I got it.
Got it.
I'm breaking it down.
Yeah, but I'm,
Cause Luke got it, just threw it under my chair. Somehow I saw his hand in the back, stubbed my toe on. So what's that book here?
so
Okay.
my question was that was the only book presented to us to consider. Is that my understanding?
That's the only one
I was
presented.
hoping that was the next question.
I'm hoping that's not the only option.
That was on a recommendation, science team.
So what happens if it's the only book and it doesn't, you don't approve it?
They're gonna go back to the drawing.
During,
Yeah,
Said it's the same, but
so,
very good one.
all right. Negotiations, there is none, so you didn't have any ability, I did miss ad hoc, but I'll let you talk, you were there.
Feel knocked out, yeah.
Yeah.
So we had, we went over, the survey data that we do with the students every year. About how they feel their experiences at school is, it's a culture survey. I don't know there was a abundance of change year over year. I think, if I represent it fairly, there's a lot of detail in there that Jason had put together. Thank you, Jason, for looking at all the data and summarizing it, so that we all didn't have to try to dig through something and then make sense of it. But there was a lot of data in there about how kids feel, their experiences at school, how they're treated, bullied or harassed. Comments around disabilities and racial issues. I think you have to see it, and certainly if it gets sent to you, if you want to take a look, I encourage it. But I don't know that there's a big jump year over year about kids feel like, oh, this year was bad. The survey data looked a lot like the same as last time we did it. We got updates from the civil rights committees they're not, something like the elementary school has what, 19 kids running or something, they have great attendance. Middle school, not so much, high school is a little light too. They're trying to keep kids involved, but some of the feedback, the coordinators, that they're kind of trying to keep it interesting. And they've struggled with that, they've been using the Office of the Attorney General here in the state of Maine's programming. And not find it to be particularly compelling, so it was decided that really not necessarily throw it out. Feel free to come up with some of your own things, they are creative teachers who have ideas, they felt like they needed to stay true to that program. They wanted to, I think they want to do some of their own things, so you're gonna see that, but, so they're always trying to get more membership. I would say that, my assessment, Barbie was there, keep me honest here. Because I don't think things are worse or so much better as it relates to how kids look at their experience when it comes to any kind of civil rights issue, racial issues, or any kind of bullying. They all just kind of seem the same.
Yeah, the data, and the only discouraging thing about the one, not our survey, the other survey was the community. The student, was that the one, or that was in our board meeting? That's my. Oh, that was, sorry, but yeah, it's the same, that when teachers aren't present, and it was basically the same. What we're trying to get, and I'm trying not to be a negative Nanny, but I don't know how many years we've had this. I like, the information, but I feel it's a board committee, what are we doing for action? We did get the elementary one, and I think if the staff, the advisors make it more interesting and more, they don't have these, they can use their curriculum. Don't yawn, Charles. I know you're tired.
I think it's be way better. Teachers travel.
Yeah, but
Go.
I just I don't want to spin the wheels all the time. I'm sorry, that's the way.
That's the way it feels.
Okay, I thought it was.
That's the way I felt.
Okay, that's the way I felt.
I don't think I said they're not doing their work.
No,
My question was, how they're meeting, what weekly or bi-weekly. And talk about different cultures and talk about different issues. I don't think they're constantly targeting the same things. But I have to wonder if some of the boredom comes from just recycling the same issues over and over and over again. I do like the fact that they do spend a lot of time. I don't think they try to get into anything political. I don't think they try to get into super controversial stuff, but they're just trying to expose the children to other cultures, the way other people see things and do things and food and customs in their cultures. And that's totally appropriate. And that's good perspective. So, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what the teachers do, the coordinators do when they come up with their own stuff.
And they talked about diversity day again, and
Yes,
um,
of course.
Caitlin's gonna have a half a day but they're
Kind of
really,
stunted by the schedule.
yeah, so,
I think at the elementary school, you're not fighting so many other activities, right? Like at the
Yeah.
elementary school, it coincides with after-school program. So you meet one afternoon every couple of weeks or whatever they're doing now. And I think what you run into once you hit middle school is a lot of the same kids are doing this activity and that, and you get to the point that if it's not compelling and it conflicts with some of the other things like that, that's, I think, part of the reason why you see a difference in participation rates. It's just the number of things that kids are selecting between them.
It's all shiny to the elementary school.
Yeah.
So it's.
One of the
really
first
exciting.
clubs that you really have, like, as a younger
makes
kid.
sense.
okay.
That's it.
Personnel, I jumped over you.
I don't have anything for personnel, but I did think of a board comment. The capstone presentations at the middle school are this week.
This is Thursday.
So they're Thursday. Did we get an invite for the board? Cause we usually do, and.
I think we did, because usually she
I
said.
didn't see it.
I think she invited people that were interviewed, but I'm not sure if she invited them.
I got interviewed by quite a few and I haven't received an invite.
So I actually, I have a kiddo in the 8th grade and, that's part of the reason I know of it. And then I was just at the middle school and they've got a QR code, the same thing that we usually get by email, the flyer with the QR code if you're attending. It's there on the board. So could I ask that we ask Ms. Sear to send an invite out to the board?
I'm hoping
I
it
don't know
wasn't
if
just
people
to
can
me.
make it, but my thought is we've got a curriculum meeting already on Thursday and it's the last period at DMS Thursday afternoon. So it's at 1:30 or 1:45, something like that.
It's at the end of the day, right?
It's the last period of the day.
I went last year.
It's a good one. And I mean, the STEM class, that's coming from the
I was
capstone
on the big list.
program, like some of the ideas they have, and I think it's a really good opportunity. It's a forced opportunity for the 8th grade students to present and have to like articulate an idea and something that they've developed. It's also for many of those kids, their first real foray into group work, which is another whole thing on how you delegate and trust and kind of work together. So I think I'd like to see an invitation at least out to the board, and if you
I was
can
on
go, I
a
think
list
it's.
with others, but it was administrators and some other, cause the Sarah lady was there, what's the whole middle school parent? Shay, she was on the list, so I don't
She's a
know.
class advisor, so.
Oh, maybe that.
She's the 8th grade class.
Oh,
advisor, so
okay.
that would be
Wait till you hear about the pencil problem.
Oh, is that what you were interviewed
I was
for?
interviewed for a few pencil problem, which I almost died laughing when the young lady said it. And I said, oh, this is real. And she said, yes. And then I started asking teachers, there's a pencil problem with this.
Oh,
Like an actual,
what did they do?
they're chewing them and eating them. And then, and I was a pencil eater when I was doing it. What the hell out of it? So it just struck me as the funniest damn thing, like, this is an actual problem. It's a money problem. So, yeah, it should be interesting to hear.
It's if you get along. and-
Yeah.
But she can go, I think it's,
I can't.
I've had the opportunity to go before and I always find it really interesting.
I just forwarded it to you because when it did come out, it did say chairpersons of the board. So I'm not sure like why it didn't end up going to place, but I just forwarded it all.
See, because I just looked, it was you, the whole list.
And maybe I missed it, I just.
I didn't go through the whole list, I just forwarded it all.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't get Brian's contract services either, but I did get the budget for 70 cents.
I think it was it today or
That was budget.
there we go.
It had, on that thing, it had it contact.
That kind of funded.
I can.
I asked her, I just.
Cause I saw that.
I don't know.
Because that was good to have that, but if we did that, what would be the savings of that? From that?
I just sent it to you again.
So, all right, I think I've done all commit, no, okay. Can I get a motion?
So-
Shut the lights off on it. Second,
No, they go.
I know it's automatic. All those in favor? Thank you.